The hallway smelled like dust and old wood. I followed Margot down the narrow corridor, my boots silent on the old runner carpet. The kiss still sat on my mouth like a thumbprint, warm and dangerous, and neither of us had spoken since the porch. Margot walked 3 steps ahead. Somewhere between the screen door and the staircase, she had rebuilt herself. Her shoulders went back, her spine straightened. The CEO returned piece by piece, but her right hand kept brushing the wall as she walked, fingertips dragging across the wallpaper like she needed the house to steady her. "The door sticks," Margot said. Her voice had gone flat again, efficient and careful. "I haven't opened it in 3 years. Since your mother died." A pause. "Since the funeral," she said. "I came up here after the service and locked it. I don't know what I thought I was protecting." We reached the end of the hallway. The door was narrower than the others, painted a deep oxblood red instead of cream. It looked deliberate, a warning in color choice. Margot pulled an old brass key from her pocket and worked it into the lock. The mechanism resisted. She had to put her shoulder into the wood. The sound it made when it opened wasn't a creak. It was an exhale. Dust swirled in the light from the hallway sconce. Margot stepped inside first. I followed. The study was smaller than I had imagined. Not grand, not designed to impress. A working room built for a woman who needed privacy more than space. Old furniture huddled beneath white sheets. The curtains were drawn tight across a single window, the fabric heavy and sun-rotted at the edges. A dead fireplace dominated the far wall. Overhead, a chandelier hung wrapped in muslin, its crystals muffled. The smell hit me next. Paper, lavender, and something sharper underneath. Ink, maybe, or old perfume trapped in fabric. "My mother called this her necessary room," Margot said. "Not her study, not her office. Her necessary room, as though it were something she had to endure." A portrait hung above the mantel. Celeste Ashford Sterling. There was no mistaking the resemblance. The sharp jaw, the high forehead, the mouth designed for withholding. But where Margot's eyes held wariness, her mother's held judgment. "My father died when I was 11, Margot said. Heart attack at his desk. My mother had the desk removed before the funeral. She said grief was inefficient." I turned toward her. Margot's face had gone carefully blank, the way it did when she felt too much and needed to feel nothing. "You don't have to show me," I said. "You asked me to." Her voice was quiet but firm. "You said, show me." Then she crossed the room and pulled the sheet off the writing desk in one motion. Dust bloomed into the air. The desk was beautiful. Cherry wood, scarred by decades of use. An inkwell sat on one corner, a letter opener with a mother-of-pearl handle, a stack of correspondence bound with ribbon, and a photograph in a silver frame. Margot didn't touch it. She stared at it like you stare at a wound you are afraid has reopened. The photograph was black and white, professionally taken on thick archival paper. 2 women stood in front of a building I didn't recognize. One was Celeste, younger than in the portrait, impeccably dressed and impossible to soften. The other woman was Vittoria Ashford. She couldn't have been older than 25. Long dark hair, a perfect, unreadable smile. She stood slightly apart from Celeste, her body angled in a way that suggested deference without submission. A protégé, or a rival learning to play the part. "They knew each other," I said. Margot's voice was thin. "I didn't know. Until today." "When was this taken?" "The back says Celeste and VA, Chicago, 1998. She picked up the frame, her fingers gripping the silver too tightly. "My mother never mentioned Vittoria, and Vittoria never told me she knew my mother when she commissioned this project. When she hired you, when she put me in front of your camera. You think Vittoria has an agenda? I think Vittoria always has an agenda." Margot reached for the stack of correspondence, loosening the old silk ribbon with hands that trembled just enough to betray her. "This is a shipping receipt," she said, pulling a paper from the stack. "My mother sent a package to Vittoria 3 months before she died. She handed it to me. The receipt came from a private courier service for high-value items. Celeste had insured the package for an amount that made my eyebrows lift." "That's a lot of insurance for old photographs," I said. "It wasn't photographs." Margot was looking at the locked cabinet now. Solid oak, floor to ceiling, a heavy brass latch, a padlock the size of my fist. She had been circling it since we entered the room like it was a live wire. "She kept the key somewhere," Margot murmured. "She always kept keys in places that meant something." While she searched the desk, I looked through the old ledgers by the fireplace. 30 years of expenses. Every dollar accounted for. Every debt marked in red ink. In the margin beside one line, I saw Margot piano tuition. Celeste had written one word after it. Investment. My stomach turned. "Found it," Margot said. The padlock opened with a sound like a bone cracking. Inside the cabinet was a safe. Margot stared at it. I don't know the combination. Try something she would have used. She spun the dial slowly. 3 numbers, 2 numbers, 1. The safe clicked open. What did you use? My birthday. Her voice went hollow. Not my birthday. The date she gave birth to me. Inside was a bundle of letters tied with silk ribbon, a velvet box, and a loose photograph with curled edges. Margot reached for the photograph first. Celeste stood on the porch of this house. Beside her was Vittoria Ashford, older than in the Chicago photo, her dark hair streaked with gray. They were not smiling. They were looking at each other, and between them, half hidden, almost cropped out, stood a child. A girl with dark hair, clutching a book to her chest like a shield. Margot set the photograph down. That's me, she said. I don't remember this. I don't remember Vittoria ever being at the house. Her breathing had gone shallow. I stepped closer. Not to push, just to be there. Our hands almost touched on the desk. The space between our fingers was electric, the kiss still alive in it. My mother never gave anything freely, Margot said. Every gift was a contract. Every kindness was a loan. In this house, love was just another kind of debt. Her voice cracked. Just enough. I don't regret the kiss, I said. She went still. I don't know what it means. I don't know what we are to each other. But I don't regret it, and I'm not going to use it against you. I turned my hand over on the desk, palm up, an invitation she did not have to take. Margot looked at my open hand, then at my face. Something in her expression shifted, not surrender, not softness, just a door opening a crack. Then her phone buzzed. The sound was obscene in the quiet. Margot looked at the screen, the color drained from her face. It's Vittoria. She turned the phone so I could read. Darling girl, I hope you're not digging through Celeste's old things without me. Shall we discuss what you found? I'm sure Dahlia has questions. Vittoria knew. She knew where we were. She knew what we were doing. Open the letters, I said. Margot looked at me. Vittoria wants you to panic. She wants to control the story. Don't give her that. For a long moment, Margot didn't move. Then she pulled the bundle of correspondence from the safe and opened the first letter. Celeste's handwriting was sharp and angular. Vittoria, if you're reading this, I am already gone. You know what I have kept. You know what I have protected. The photographs from 1999 remain in my possession, but I will not take them to the grave. You owe me more than you admit. Consider this package the settling of that debt. See. Margot's voice had gone dry by the end. What photographs from 1999? She whispered. What does Vittoria owe her? Before I could answer, the phone buzzed again. Another text from Vittoria. I'll be at the house in 2 hours. And Margot? Asked Dahlia why she really took the job. The study went very quiet. Margot looked at me. Not with accusation. Not yet. With something worse. Fear. Dahlia, she said. Why did you take the job? I opened my mouth to answer, and realized I didn't have a simple one. The dust swirled in the light. Margot's eyes didn't leave mine.